dear student. Today class is chapter 4 The Mughal Empire. इसके पहले हम चैप्टर 1, चैप्टर 2 एंड चैप्टर 3 की स्टडी कर चुके हैं और जिसमें नोट्स और क्वेश्चन आंसर आई होप कि आप लोग राइट कर चुके होंगे और उसको लर्न कर रहे होंगे। आज हम चैप्टर 4 को की एक स्टोरी को स्टडी करेंगे। उसके बाद हम इस चैप्टर को पहले हम एक स्टोरी की रीडिंग करेंगे। मुगल्स एम्पायर की एक स्टोरी मैंने क्रिएट की है जिसको हम रीडिंग करेंगे इस वीडियो में, और उसके साथ साथ आप भी रीडिंग करिएगा। और बुक की रीडिंग तो कंपलसरी है, बुक रीडिंग इज कंपलसरी। ओके, तो चैप्टर्स का नाम जैसे आप लोग जान ही गए हैं, चैप्टर 4 द मुग़ल एम्पायर। मुग़ल एम्पायर कब से कब तक रहा? तो 1526 टू 1707। Okay, now start the story. See the story. Who were the Mughals? Mughals? Who were the Mughals? आगे, ruling India, a huge place, a subcontinent, and given all its diversity of people and cultures, was an extremely difficult task for any rulers in the Middle Age. Unlike their predecessors, the Mughals created an empire. The Mughals created an empire and accomplished what had till then seemed possible for only short period of time. Okay, after 1550, the expanded their kingdoms from Agra and Delhi till they controlled nearly all the subcontinent by the 7th century. Okay, they imposed models of administration and ideas of governance that continued even after their rule ended, leaving a political legacy that succeeding rulers of the subcontinent could not ignore. Okay, even today, the Prime Minister of India addresses the nation of Independence Day, the told home of the Mughal Empire, the Red Fort in Delhi. Okay, now आगे, so who were the parents of these great rulers? The Mughals were descendants of two great lineage of rulers from their mother's side. They come from Genghis Khan, dead to 1227, ruler of the Mongol tribes across China and Central Asia. Okay, from their father's side, they were the successors of Timur, died on 1404. the rulers of Iran, Iraq, and modern day Turkey, the Mughals did not like to be called Mughal or Mongol because Genghis Khan's name was associated with the murder of uncountable people. Some reports say his army once killed 17 lakh 4800,000 people in 1 hour. In fact, he killed so many people that forest grew back in place of village. Okay, now see the meeting. Another regions they did not like to be called Mughals was that the name was also linked with the Uzbeks who were their Mongols competitors. Okay, so the Mughals were proud of their Timur ancestry, instead not least of all because their great ancestors had captured Delhi in 1398. They celebrated their generally pictorially each ruler getting a picture made of Timur and himself. They believed that looking more like Timur would make them less like Genghis Khan. Okay. अब मुग़ल मिलिट्री कैंपेन, इसमें हम रीडिंग करते हैं बाबर 1526 to 1530, the first Mughal Empire succeeded to the throne of Fargana in 1444 when he was only 12 years old. Okay, now but he was forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invasion of another Mongol group, the Uzbeks, and after years of wandering, he seized Kabul in 1504. Okay, now this picture. In 1526, he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. The brave Afghans were an immediate threat to the new Mughal authority, and many wars were fought with them over many years. Okay, now the relationship between the Mughals and other kingdoms such as the Ahoms, the Sikhs, and Mewar and Marwar were dynamic. Humans relationship with Safed Iran was different from Akbar's, and the annex- annexions of Golconda and Bijapur. In Aurangzeb's regions did not end hostilities in the Deccan during the rise of the Maratha. Next topic, Mongol Mughal relations with other rulers. Mughals rulers fought constantly against rulers who refused to accept their authority. But as the Mughals became powerful, many other rulers also joined them voluntarily. Now, the Shisodiya's Rajput refused to accept Mongol authorities for the long time. Once defeated, however, they were horribly treated by the Mughals and were given their lands back as assignment Watan Jagir. The carefully balanced between defeating but not humiliating their opponents enable the Mughal to extend their influence over many kings and chieftains. Now next, but it was difficult to keep this balance all the time when Aurangzeb instituted Shivaji. It led to many wars with the Marathas. Many Rajput also resisted the Mughals, but many married their daughters into Mughal families and received high positions. Mansabdars and Jagirdars. See the picture? This picture is Mansabdar and Jagirdar about the discuss. So as their empire expanded over different regions, the Mughals required many different people from a small team of Turkish nobles. They grew to include Iranians, Indians, Muslims, Afghans, Rajputs, Marathas, and other groups. Those who joined Mughal service were given the title of Mansabdars. Okay, now then, the word Mansabdars refer to the individual who hold a mansab, meaning a position of rank. It was a grading system used by the Mughals to fix rank, salary, and military responsibilities. Rank and salary were determined by a numerical value called jat. The higher the jat, the more prestigious was the noble's position in court, and the larger his salary. So this picture is about talking the salary. And another picture this the war, and see the Mansabdar's military responsibilities required him to maintain a specified number of savar or cavalrymen. Now then, the Mansabdar brought his cavalrymen for review, got them registered, their horses branded, and then received money to pay them as salary. Because next pictures is see the Mansabdars received their salaries as revenue assignment called Jagirs, which were somewhat like Ikta. Ikta जो था टैक्स था. But unlike Mukti's, most Mansabdars did not actually reside on in or administrator their Jagirs. They only had right to the revenue of the assignment, which was collected for them by their servants. Now, while they themselves served in some other part of the country in Akbar's region, these Jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of the Mansabdar. But by Aurangzeb's region, this was no longer the case, and the actual revenue collected was often less than the generated sum. This picture is Aurangzeb. Okay, now next picture. See the next picture and reading now. There were also a huge increase in the number of Mansabdars, which meant a long wait before they received a Jagir. Now, these and other factors created a shortage in the number of Jagirs. As a result, many Jagidars tried to extract as much revenue as possible while they had a Jagir. Aurangzeb could not control this exploitation towards the end of his rule, and poor farm laborer suffered a lot. This picture and this picture. जब्त एंड जमींदार्स. इस पिक्चर में जब्त एंड जमींदार्स को दिखाया गया है, जिसमें बात की गई है. द मानसून वाज रियली बैड. एक जागीरदार कह रहा है कि द मानसून वाज रियली बैड दिस ईयर माई लॉर्ड. दिस इज ऑल आई कैन पे फॉर नाउ. Okay. The main source of income for Mughal rulers was the tax they collected on what grew on people's farms, the produce of the peasantry. In most places, peasants paid tax through the ruler elites. That is, the headman or the local chieftain. The Mughals used the word jamidars to describe all such middlemen, whether they were local village headmen or powerful regional chieftains. Okay, now Akbar revenue minister Toderman carried out a careful survey of crop yield, market prices, and areas cultivated from 1570 to 1580. What did you grow and how much did you sell it for? So, based on that data, cash tax was fixed on crops. Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates for each crop. The revenue system was known as JAT. It was natural that because India was a country dependent on agriculture, any Indian empire would get most of its money and powerful from agriculture. So now king asked, and exploitations often drove Indians to rebellions. Where is the same caste jamidars and peasants must become one and fight the Mughals. Such peasants revolt challenged the stability of the empire. From the end of the 7th century, and now a closer look at Akbar's policy. This picture, Akbar's policy, see the Akbar's policy. Now, the emperor is divided into province called Subas, governed by a Subedar who carried out both political and military functions. The bold features of the management of the empire were laid down by Akbar and elaborately discussed by Abul Fazl. In his book The Akbarnama, established especially in its last value the aim a Akbari, Aine Akbari. Okay. Now this picture, meeting of the emperor and mantris. Each province also had a financial officer or diwan. फाइनेंशियल ऑफिसर एंड दीवान की मीटिंग, जिसमें क्या हो रहा है, फॉर द मेंटेनेंस ऑफ पीसेज एंड अदर एंड ऑर्डर द सूबेदार वाज आल्सो सपोर्टेड बाय अदर ऑफिसर्स सच एज द मिलिट्री पे मास्टर, जिसको बोलते हैं भक्सी, द मिनिस्टर इज चार्ज ऑफ रिलीजियस एंड चैरिटी कलेक्शंस, सदर मिलिट्री कमांडर्स, फौजदार एंड द टाउन पुलिस कमांडर्स कोतवाल एंड See the next picture. Next picture is the discuss of this picture. This pictures in carry up the tax such. So now the administrative and military efficiency of the Mughal Empire had led to great economic and commercial prosperity. Your Highness, international travelers are describing your India as the favored and of land of wealth. But these some visitors are also disgusted at the level of poverty that exists side by side. Was India really poorer before we invaded it? Now Mughal Empire in and after 16th. Okay, the inequalities between the rich and the poor are becoming shockingly extreme, my lord. And then we can see in the documents from the 20th year of Shah Jahan rules that out of a total of 8,000 Mansabdars, only 445 were of the highest ranking. It means that only 5.6% of the total number of Mansabdars receive 61.5% of the total estimated income of the empire as salaries for themselves and their staff and armies. Now, next picture. See this pictures. Suppose that this picture and imagine. Okay, the Mughal empires and their Mansabdar spend a lot of their income on salaries for servants and ready-made goods of goods. This help the artisans and peasantry who supplied them with the goods and service that the rich masters wanted, but then again so such much tax was collected from them that in the end they were left with very little of themselves. And now the poorest amongst them were forced to live from hand to mouth, unable to invest in tools and supplies to increase their productivity and income, but rich peasantry and artisan groups, merchants and bankers profited a lot in this new economy. The rich started becoming richer and the poorer. Okay, now then see the last picture. You can rule this state without help from the big emperor. In fact, he needs you more than you need him. So let us king say I think you are right. Let us stop paying him. Now, the enormous wealth and resources commanded by the Mughal elite made them an extremely powerful group of people after the 1650 century. As the authority of the Mughal emperor slowly declined, his servants emerged as centers of power in India's regions. They created their own new dynasties and commanded provinces like Hyderabad and Awadh. Although they continued the recognized the Mughal emperor in Delhi as their master because nobody wanted to start a war with the Mughal Empire. By the 7th century, 17th, the provinces of the empire had become politically independent. Now the story of chapter 4 finish. You read one or two, एक दो बार आप रीड करेंगे तो जो मुग़ल एम्पायर्स की स्टोरी है वो क्लियर हो जाएगी. आप अंडरस्टूड हो जाएंगे दिस स्टोरी को लेकर. ओके, थैंक यू.